All right.
Hi guys, my name is Heather and I'm a holistic health and life coach, and I am here interviewing one of my clients today that did a wonderful job. They have an awesome story, so I'm super excited to share it with you guys. His name is Matthew, and I can't wait to ask him these questions so he can share his experiences from our time together, because he seriously killed it. And I think you guys are really going to enjoy his story and his experience, and you guys could probably learn a lot from what he went through. So I'm excited to share it with you guys, and thank you guys for tuning in and checking it out with us. So thank you, Matthew, for being here with me. I'm so excited to ask you these questions and get your experience for my audience. I really, really appreciate it, because when you share what you go through and when you share your experiences like this, you really are helping more people than you probably realize, because one, it's giving them the motivation and like the hope or whatever it is that they need to know that it's possible for them to do it too, right? So you sharing your experience is so helpful for many people. So I really, really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the first question that I have for you is, I really want you to just kind of take a moment to get into the mindset of when we first met. Like when we first met, I remember we met each other on Facebook. So when we first met and you came into my world, I want you to really get into that mindset of, what were you thinking? What were you feeling? What was your experience when we first met? What was kind of going on in your world?
Well, whenever we first met, I had been seeing VA counselors for PTSD, and I was taking a number of medications and a couple of other things that I was dealing with. Some relationship problems, some problems at home. And what was really going through my mind was that nothing that I was trying was really working for me, like kind of helping me. Everybody's just sort of like, you're doing a fantastic job, but I didn't feel like I was doing a very good job, just like managing life and things like that. It was just really tough at the time.
Yeah. So like, I think I remember you were saying that like the counselors were saying like, you have all this awesome things, you have a good job, you have you have your stuff together, you have all these great things. Why, you should be happy, you should be this, you should be that. And you're just like, yeah, these are great, but like there's still something, right? So can you tell me a little bit more about that? Maybe just like what was that experience like? How were you feeling in regards to what they were saying? Like when they would say that, like what was kind of if I remember you used a specific emotion, and I don't want to say it, so I want you to kind of to kind of remember that feeling of like where you were at in whenever they were telling you that, because you told me and it was so powerful, especially like your transition. So tell me a little bit more about how you were feeling when they were telling you those things.
Well, they were telling me like, you have a house, you have, this car and a truck and a motorcycle, and you got a good job and you're doing so great. And like, yeah, like I was chasing kind of materialistic things that guys kind of do, but I wasn't really happy. I felt empty in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and so is it okay if I kind of say the emotion that I was talking about too? Because
I'm trying to remember.
Got it. Yeah, you've got it. But I remember one of the main things that you felt was trapped. You felt like stuck, and like there was no way to get from where you were. And another thing was like we didn't have any time. I'm running out of time. I'm stuck. I'm trapped here.
I'm dying.
So yeah. We weren't having the fulfillment. It was like these things were great. You love these things. You're taking really good care of these things, but it's like there was just something else missing. Something that you couldn't, it wasn't in the relationships. It wasn't in the external things. There was just something that you hadn't quite found yet that was bringing the fulfillment that you've been searching for, right? And And then it kind of we went deep into those feelings of like running out of time and of feeling stuck and feeling trapped, like we didn't have these options. So yeah, okay, awesome. So yeah, that's kind of how we were before we got started on our work. That was at the very beginning, right?
Mhm.
So my next question, you kind of answered it, was did you try anything or get any help from anywhere that maybe didn't work or maybe did work? So you were seeing the counselors and they just kind of were seeing your external life and they were just like, you should be living the dream. And you're just like, yeah, but there's something else.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
seeing a lot of VA counselors, and I was having a lot of trouble sleeping. I always have for a very long time. And they sort of just told me everything I already knew. And then I kind of got some medication thrown at me, and that was really it.
Yeah. So they were giving you maybe a little bit of general information, and then they're like, here's a pill, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. 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 So now that we have spent our time together, you've gone through this process with me. Can you kind of tell me, like, where are you at now? Where are you at now? Like, what are your experiences now? What are your emotions? How are you feeling? What's your day-to-day like now that you've spent the last 3 months with me? And just learning everything in this process and then implementing what you learned into your life. How did that change your life? What are you experiencing now?
I experience actually better sleep, which is very important.
Yeah.
I say mantras before bed. I experience more self-love than I have in setting boundaries. Like, I always had really strong boundaries, but I just didn't really enforce them. And then I have a better relationship with my father, which is really awesome. That's probably one of the best things that came out of it, because I got to see where he was coming from more. And all around, I feel like I'm reaching out more to these friends and acquaintances that I always had for more opportunities that I never actually used to reach out and even think about, so I have more opportunities kind of lined up, and I'm really happy about that I have options.
Yeah.
If I, God forbid, I lost my job tomorrow, I think I'd have a couple other places to go and things to do. So that feeling of being stuck is kind of over. It's like a season in my life, and it's kind of past. I'm really happy.
Yes, I love that. So we've got deeper relationships, we've healed relationships in our life. We're taking better care of ourselves, we're getting better sleep, and we have more opportunities. We're not trapped, we're not stuck, we have options. I love that word. Like, I have options. That's what we all want, right? We don't want to feel like it's one way or we're screwed, right? We want these options, like, because then it makes us feel like I can do a lot of different things and this is fun. And now you get to like create, right? You get to decide what you want to create in your life, and that's wonderful. So thank you. That's perfect. I love that. And what is something, or is there a couple of things or one thing that you learned that you found the most helpful during our time together? What was something that you learned during our time together that was really, really helpful for you?
Forgiving yourself, learning to forgive yourself. I think that was the best thing for me. So I've always been like extremely hard and critical of myself. I think a lot of people are. And
for sure.
The mantras are awesome. They help me get sleep. Meditation, I'm still working on that. when the kids aren't running around the house screaming, maybe I kind of meditate. Actually pushing negative thoughts out of my head whenever they come in has been a really big help. Um, but I would say self-forgiveness is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, yeah, I love that because that's forgiving anytime, anything with the self, whether it's self-love, forgiveness, self-care, putting yourself as a priority, anything that comes back to how you're treating yourself, it's the hardest, right? It's the hardest person to do. It's the hardest person to master, right? Is the self. Because it's easy for us to put our kids first and make sure that they're getting their hygiene and their nutrition and everything, or our family, our parents. It's easy for us to put everybody else first, right? But
Yeah.
the self it's hard. It's hard to be like, well, we deserve it, like we deserve it and we are capable of doing it for ourselves. And sometimes I think too, this is just kind of like my own like little epiphany with that, is like we get so used to doing everything for everybody else, loving everybody, caring for everybody, prioritizing everybody, that we expect that they're going to do it for us.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we don't need to do it for us because other people will do what I'm doing. They'll reciprocate, right? So
Yeah.
we kind of put ourselves on the back burner and we're waiting for this magical friend or this magical relationship to put us first. We're going to get our moment. We're going to get our moment in the sun, right?
Yeah. That was actually something that I learned the hard way. And that was also one of the things I was dealing with, was a relationship where I was putting somebody first, and I became extremely stressed out. And, pretty much had to give up on it, and really tough. But then everything seemed to work out really well. Like everything works out for a reason. So
Yes. Yeah. And that was something else. I think that maybe you got, was it the forgiveness exercise that we learned that helped you get closure for that?
yeah, it
Or was
was.
it maybe just a mental thing?
Yeah, it was the forgiveness exercise that helped me with that. So
Yeah. So the forgiveness was a big one for you. Oh, and I think it probably helped with maybe your dad too. It kind of probably helped with
yeah,
the relationship aspect of everything in general to build those deeper connections. So awesome. I love that. Love that. That's beautiful. That's perfect. Thank you. And was there anything that happened? Was there any goals that you accomplished or any shifts that you made that you weren't expecting to make during our time together?
yeah, there's a lot of stuff I actually accomplished. Let's see. In our time together, I quit vaping, got better sleep. I made I reached out basically to friends. I made a better relationship with my father. Um, I accomplished a lot of goals that have been there for me like my whole life. It's just, um, basic things like that. Sometimes it's just like you have to rework your brain, rework your thoughts, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not a person that used to reach out to people or talk to people, I'm not a person that used to forgive very easily. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. So just having those tools and that support and that accountability, right?
yeah. And there's also some
Yeah.
other things that I learned. I got, like, you told me to get my own cologne, and every time I put it on, like, think of, like the freedom, or that I'm not dying every day, or that,
Yeah.
as weird as it sounds, like whenever, you raid enemy strongholds in Iraq and then you come back, like kind of don't fit in. And then, you try to find your life, like all through your life trying to fit in. And then you get to a certain age and your friends that you're with over there start passing away from natural causes. And you're like, it sort of sets off a chain of events in your mind too.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't
Yeah.
have that time and you got to do all this stuff, and it's not exactly true.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure to have on yourself too.
Yeah, like you put a ton of pressure on yourself, or at least
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. And yeah. And I remember a huge thing that hopefully you're okay with me sharing that we worked on was meeting your survival self.
Yeah.
We met your survival self, and we did what we could to nurture that so that we didn't have to feel like we were living to survive anymore, because with you being in Iraq and everything for that long, and even before that, just life in general, like you got so conditioned to surviving, and now you're here in like a world where it's not perfect or not 100% safe, but a lot safer. It's a lot different. You don't have to be that survival mode, right? But when we get so accustomed and conditioned to certain ways of being, we get into this survival mode, and it's hard for us to get out and to know what it's like to not feel like we just have to survive, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been in that a lot, so I always felt like there's kind of like two me's,
Yep.
There's like the little
Yep.
boy me and like the survival me kind of.
Yeah.
They don't mix very well.
Yeah. Yeah, we got like a war going on a little bit. It's like,
Yeah.
I totally understand with that. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Cool. So if you met someone that was experiencing those feelings of not feeling fulfilled, of running out of time, or feeling stuck, and just feeling like, life is good or life should be good, but I'm not feeling happy. I'm not having the joy that I want. If you met someone, or if someone that's watching this video, this interview right now, is feeling that way, what advice, is there any advice that you would like to share for someone that might be feeling the way you did in the beginning that could help them?
Yeah, actually, first of all, you have to breathe and step back and sort of take yourself out of the situation completely and just step back and look at it. And, you know, you're not really, we're all running out of time. But it's how you kind of maximize your time, and you can
Yeah.
fill it with great relationships and friends and family. And I think that would be the first step, to sort of reach
Yeah.
out to friends and family, and um, forgiveness. That's what helped me. If you have anything that you're guilty over or beating yourself up over, you got to learn to forgive yourself. And then forgiving others is extremely important. If you have some bad relationships with family, friends, you know, maybe try to learn to forgive them. And, it's like you get back what you put out, like the old saying goes. So, um, the energy you're putting out is the energy you get back. So,
Yeah.
I recommend, you know, just saying mantras and trying to, get a good night's sleep and eat healthy and work out and take care of yourself and take care of your family.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we're living in that energy of forgiveness, and that energy of self-care, and that energy of caring, compassion for others, that's what we'll receive, right? But we've got to create that experience in ourselves before that's the experience that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it is what I'm saying. And I do a fantastic job of, unless I'm in traffic. I got to work on.
Hey, it's one step at a time, right?
Yeah.
One thing that you said earlier that I was going to touch on, but I think I moved on, was you said moving or like not allowing the negative thoughts. So like that was like so what I think you meant by that is just learning to break that habit of allowing yourself to be in this negative space. And it's like it can come, we can allow it to come, but we're going to break the habit of staying there. We're going to acknowledge it. It's like, okay, yeah, it's here, but we're going to break this habit. We're not going to stay here. We're going to transform it into something else. We're going to move up instead of keep moving down, because when those negative thoughts start to intrude, it's easy for us to keep digging and digging and digging and digging. But instead, what I think you were talking about that you learned was like learning to recognize it. And it's like, we're not going to stay here. It's like, yeah, all right, I see you, but we're not going to stay here. We're going to, how can we bring ourselves back up here? Right.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, funny story, actually, every night I used to say, tomorrow's going to be a great day. I'm going to wake up and thank God for the breath that he breathes into my lungs, And then the next morning I wake up, I got to go to work. I don't feel that way. I'm all angry and upset and, cussing, So that's the first thing. That's like the energy you put out as soon as you get out of bed. So how's the rest of your day going to go?
Yes.
So like basically as you're there and you're doing things, like those thoughts will creep in your head, like, why am I doing this? I hate what I'm doing, or for instance, she don't like me, he don't like me, I'm not being a good father, not being a good mom, just all these things that sort of come through your head all through the day. Like you sort of help me learn to push them out. And like as soon as they come in, like just don't feed the negativity, because
we're not feeding.
You can feed, whether it's a depressive stage or like a manic stage or whatever, you can feed those things. And you help me sort of stop that, like push it away really quick. And I do pretty good. I got a lot to work on, but I can recognize it now, and that's the first part of the battle. So
yeah, it's a process. Mm-hmm. Yes, I love it. Awesome. Well, I don't have any other questions. This was perfect. This was amazing. I really, really appreciate you for doing this, taking your time on your Saturday to do this with me. And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to appreciate this. I think a lot of people are going to love to hear your story and your experience, because these were incredible shifts. So I'm so proud of you, and I'm very, very thankful that you wanted to do this. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share before we ended?
No, I just want to tell you thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.